continuing on now with Connor Pay, BYU team captain here. And Connor, last time you guys went to Waco, Texas, it was 2021. If I'm mistaken, you were a redshirt freshman in that game. What do you remember of going down to Waco and playing in McLane Stadium?
I remember giving up a strip sack.
Okay.
I remember BYU fans weren't too happy with me in that moment. But that's my clearest memory.
Surprising. Surprised that would be the most.
No, I think I remember the build up for that game for me individually, having it be my first year, as a starter. And, we had played Utah and ASU and they had some solid D linemen, but this was the first time I was going to go up against a really draftable defensive tackle in Apu Ika.
Mm-hmm.
And some of we're buddies, we've been playing with each other and against each other since high school. And so, I remember it, being a big game for me and trying to go out there and prove myself and prove that I belonged. And, overall, I felt like I played a pretty solid game, probably my best game of the year up until that point. And, we weren't quite good enough that day, a stupid guy named Gary Bohannon kind of tore us up a little bit in that game, with his legs and with his arm. And, we didn't quite have it that day to get it done. So, but no, I remember that day fondly. I remember the environment. It's a cool environment, cool stadium right there on the water. And, it's a fun place to play.
Now you guys are going down there. It's a morning kickoff. It'll be 11 a.m. local time, 10 a.m. on your guys' body clock here in Utah. Gregor Bell put out the stat, Connor. Last 14 day games for you guys as a football program. 2-12 is your record overall. What are you guys going to do to exercise those day game demons, essentially?
I don't know if we're going to do anything different. I think one of the things that's changed is now we have a sports science staff, and they've been adjusting our sleep schedules every week based on game and kick times.
Mm-hmm.
And so this week I'm supposed to be going to bed by 9:30 to 10 and waking up between 6 and 6:30 every day all week long. Okay. And eating right when I wake up and getting sun on my eyes a little bit and stuff. And so to help us, adjust to that schedule Saturday morning of getting up at 6 or 6:30 and eating right away our pregame meal, because most people aren't used to waking up right away and eating right away. And that can make you feel kind of crappy. And so we're going to be doing that all week, leading up to this game. And so obviously we've made some minor adjustments, but, honestly, with in my memory, the last time we played a game at 10 a.m., we came up slightly short, but we played pretty dang well against Oklahoma. And so I think, we don't think too much about the kick time or anything like that, right? We're focused on our preparation and doing everything we can to prepare to go out and play well, regardless of what, the time is. And our sports science staff is taking care of all that other off the field stuff that is going to help us get ready. They've outlined the plan for us today in our meetings, and our job's to get things done on the field, and they'll handle prepping us off the field.
Now, there used to be a lot more familiar faces on the other sideline, speaking of Baylor, when you had guys like Eric Mateos, Jeff Grimes down there, Clark Barrington, a guy that you know well. The only familiar name that I am aware of is another Barrington brother, Campbell, who will be a starting tackle, if I recall correctly, for Baylor in this game. Do you still have any relationship with Campbell? Do you talk with him at all in the lead up to this game? Have you talked to him at all about this matchup?
Yeah, of course. Of course, Campbell and I were recruited together in high school. We committed together, left on our missions, came into BYU. I came in the fall. He came in January of that next year. So Campbell was one of my closest friends on the offensive line before he left for Waco, and that hasn't changed. Mm-hmm. And so I talk to him often, and him and his wife, they have a baby girl now, and it's we haven't talked a lot about this game. I doubt our communication is going to be very frequent in the next 4 or 5 days, but just text him after the Colorado game, and say like, hey man, that was a tough one. Just your usual stuff, just reaching out to your friends, making sure they're doing okay. And But no, haven't chatted with him too much about this game specifically.
Now, you guys go into this game ranked 22nd in the country. You talked about what you remember from that 2021 game. I don't know if you remember this, but in 2021, you were ranked 19th heading into Waco, and you mentioned you guys came up short in this one. Is there going to be any thought process of how you approach this game any differently with regards to having a national ranking against the Baylor team, as you mentioned? Heartbreaking loss against Colorado on the road last week.
No, I mean the national ranking doesn't mean too much to us because it's a national ranking in week 4, right? Like, and kind of like I mentioned earlier, and I think for us, I think one of the things with this team that has been really good to see, and maybe it comes from maturity, guys just being here a little longer, a lot of returning guys, or I think this team has been really good about flushing the previous week and focusing on the task at hand. We don't let the highs or the lows of the week before affect our preparation for the next game. And I think that's what it's going to take for us to go out there and perform well and win. Is we just got to understand that the notoriety and things that are coming from that win against Kansas State has absolutely zero bearing on this Baylor game. None. Right? And we have to go earn it all week long. We have to go earn the right to be confident. And if we don't do that, then that's not confidence, that's arrogance. Right? Because it's not backed by anything. It's not backed by your preparation. And so I think we're not thinking about anything outside of that, because that's what it takes for us to win. Is that the elite teams have elite preparation. And so that's our focus. I think we had a really good day today. As minimal as it is, it's more of a recovery day, not so much in the sense of recovering from the game still, but we had a heavy lift. We had meetings, and then we went out and we had a quick walkthrough. Nothing too crazy, just base Baylor looks, nothing too specific yet. But we've already made some adjustments to the game plan and other things like that, and guys were able to implement it right away in the walkthrough, and so guys were dialed in, they were focused, and so I thought it was a really good start to the week, and that's what we have to maintain over the next 4 days as we go through to a really physical day tomorrow, really physical day Wednesday, and then sharpening the knife on Thursday and Friday.
Now, real quick on this, Baylor's 2-2, obviously coming off that loss against Colorado. But according to our friends at FanDuel, as well as other sports books around, you guys are still a slight underdog, even though you're the nationally ranked undefeated team. Do you take anything away from that? Does that fire you up at all?
Again, same deal. Where it's like we don't put too much stock into it, and that's why the national ranking doesn't mean that much to us either. It's like, okay, great, we're 22nd in the country, we're still underdogs. Like, they still think we're going to lose, and so it's like that, just like basically every other game this year. They thought we were going to lose, and so I think that's motivating for some guys in the sense of like, hey, like, yeah, we played well against Kansas State. It's kind of a shocking win to people outside of the building. Didn't come as a surprise to us. Man, there are some people, obviously enough of them, that still, don't believe that we're capable of sustaining that. So yeah, we have to go prove to the country that we can do this week in and week out. And I think the things I described earlier are how we can pull that off.